Welcome to another episode of Talk with Koiya. I am your host, Koiya, and as you know, this podcast is brought to you by Talk, Test, Treat. If you are in the Central Florida area and are looking for a place to get tested near you, go to www.talktestcfl.com. Today, we have a very special episode of Talk with Koiya. As you see, we are not with our normal setup. We are in a different studio, and we also have some very lovely people, more than one. Normally, we do an episode with just one person, but we have 3 other people here today, and I'm going to let them all introduce themselves.
Hey, y'all. I am Jean Fran.
I'm Sarah Juliana.
I'm Damien Keen.
All right, so we have Tequila Babies podcast in the house, and they have brought along a friend, Damien. I am so thankful that you are down to do this. Thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yes. All right, so as you know, June 27th is going to be National Testing Day, National HIV Testing Day. And so this episode, I wanted to bring some lovely individuals together so we can have some conversations surrounding testing. As we know in the Black community, testing is something that just ain't really happening like that, right? Mm-hmm. And you all got tested today before the episode. I know y'all still got your Band-Aids on. Yes. All right, so let's talk about the testing process today. Actually, let me back up.
Okay.
Before today, Jean.
Yes.
When was the last time you had been tested?
January.
Okay.
January, I got tested. I had my annual. And that's usually when I do get tested. I don't really do any outside testing. So this was cool because I haven't done anything like this since like forever. But I usually like rely on my appointments, my annual appointments, womanly appointments for testing. So that's what I did January of this year. Yeah.
Okay. Sarah, what about you?
The last time I got tested was actually on Friday.
Okay. Wow, that was just last week. Okay.
Just last week.
Love that. Damien, talk to me. When is the last time you were tested?
The last time I was tested, about 3 months ago, I got a full panel STI testing or STD testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did everything?
Everything.
Okay, I love that. So you got tested before this episode. Talk to me about the testing process. Like, were you scared? Were you nervous? How easy was it? And was it painful?
I think I'm always nervous going into any kind of testing. Like, we try to be as safe as we can, but life be life sometimes. It's always nerve-wracking. Like, so I'm always nervous. When I sat down, I told Steven, who tested me, I was like, I'm so nervous. He's like, don't be nervous.
I think the most nerve-wracking thing is the couple minutes you have to wait to get those results back.
I'm looking at that stick like,
and then it be like blurry. I'm like, hold on, what does that mean? But no, everything was fine. And when I was waiting, I was just talking to my guy, the guy that was testing me. Mm-hmm. Brought me down to earth.
Yeah, but it was a little nervous. But once you start talking and they start, you just start having normal conversation, you get a little relaxed. But I still was peeking at that stick like,
what's going on?
What the lines doing? But it was only one line. That means non-reactive. Yes. Thank you, God. But yeah, it was not painful. It's literally a one little prick.
Kind of like how they
diabetes.
Is it diabetes or iron?
Something. It's literally just a little stick, like 2 seconds, not painful at all. One little drop of blood is all they need. I'm like, so that's the only blood you need? I'm thinking they're gonna have a tube that they gotta fill up or something, but no, it was super simple, like just painless and easy. I think it was the hardest part was just the nerves.
Mm-hmm.
The nerves.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Damien, I know when you were standing out before you went on to the testing unit to get tested, you were like, I'm more nervous about the prick. Right. You were saying that, it's painful.
No, for sure. Especially being that I'm afraid of needles.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's the hardest part is the little prick. And it's a 1 second quick prick. But it hurts like hell.
Really?
It's a little sting.
It's a sting.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad would you say it hurts?
It's like a 2, 3.
I'd say like 4.
I'm gonna say like a 7, 8.
Wow, Damien, really? You really don't like needles,
I
huh?
You have tattoos, Damien.
That don't make no difference. It still hurts. Every tattoo
tattoos
hurt.
hurt.
And I always have to look away. But it's a quick prick, but it's I think it's the anxiety. And when you're afraid of something, it just
Yeah.
plays tricks on your mind. So
Yeah.
That's true.
No, that's true. I don't like needles either, but I think I'm with Jean. I'll give it like a 2. I'm feeling like, like a 2. It's not that bad. It's just the anxiety and the adrenaline rush that really
Yeah.
that makes it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that you got tested today. We talked about, you guys previously being tested, but how often are you getting tested? I mean, when you're single, I mean, when you're in a relationship, I mean, when you're in a long-term relationship.
Mm-hmm.
What's protocol when it comes to testing for you?
Well, again, like I said, I usually wait for my annual. So it's usually like once a year. Or if I get a new partner, I will try to make an appointment. I don't really go to like testing sites and stuff like that or like clinics. I usually just entrust my OB. Like that's comfortable for me because that's my doctor. That's who I'm going to. That's who knows my body, who talks to me about, XYZ as far as health. But I think I'm going to, after today's experience, it was like, I could do this. Like, if I get a new partner, I'm just going to find somewhere to test and just go get a little quick rapid test. But they did explain, like, it's 3 months. Like, it's a 90-day time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So, after the rapid test, they follow up with actual blood work or whatever the case.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you was learning today.
Yes, I'm over here like, okay, Jean.
me and Steven was talking because you just got tested. I haven't done this type of testing in like a bus, like something like that.
A rapid test.
Like a rapid test.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've only done it one other time, like years and years ago. But yeah, I was in there learning. I was getting my information.
I love that for you too. Sarah, how often are you getting tested?
I would say just about like with every partner, like at least try to, but like maybe twice a year, if anything.
Okay. I love that. Damon, there is like a stigma when it comes to Black men and getting tested. So I would love to hear how often you are getting tested.
are these microphones new?
Oh, so we're going to deflect already. We ain't even got into the thick of it and you already trying to deflect.
No, it's hard to speak for the whole male community,
Sure.
especially Black men, because just in the last couple of years, I kind of broke out of that stigma of not getting tested and relying on your partner test results to find out your status. So for me, I would say at least 4 times a year, but it also depends on
Your activity.
these microphones are it really depends on your activity throughout the year. Just like a business, you have your slow seasons,
Yeah.
and then you have things start to pick up.
Wow. Yeah. Let's
So,
talk about that. I actually like the analogy you just put that into, right? So when things are picking up in your sex life,
Mm-hmm.
when things are picking up, do you make it a priority to get tested more?
Sometimes,
Okay.
like I said, I get tested about 4 times a year, and sometimes I don't make it a priority when I switch partners to go get tested again because I have that false insecurity of last time I was good, so I'm still good. And I know with I believe HIV or AIDS, it takes about 3 to 6 months for it to show up in your system. So if I were to get tested today and the test results show that I didn't have HIV or AIDS, in the next couple months it could possibly show from my understanding. So it's necessary to get tested often, especially if you're having sex frequently. But it all depends. If I'm having unprotected sex with, which I've never done, but if I have unprotected sex with multiple partners, I would probably get tested a little more often than usual. But these microphones are really nice. I
love your admiration for the microphones. And
No, for
yes,
sure.
Solomon Studios put a lot of money into the equipment that they
That is
buy, so
so
they
funny.
are nice.
and it shows.
However, has there ever been a possible scare that's changed the trajectory in you possibly wanting to get tested more because of a situation?
Oh, for sure. for sure. A couple years ago, I believe 2021 or 2022, I was not diagnosed. I was diagnosed with chlamydia.
Mm-hmm.
So and that was after wilding out for a week straight. And when I was tested initially, well, I had symptoms that the worst thing you could do is Google your symptoms.
Oh my gosh, WebMD.
Dying. About to die.
It said I had 3 days to live.
Oh my gosh.
Set my will, and so I had a couple symptoms, and so I went and got tested, and I got that dreaded phone call. Come back in. We need to talk to you in person.
Can I ask what those symptoms were?
Good
Yes.
question.
Okay.
So I had
Just curious.
it was itching at the base. Of,
No, this is like what happened.
Not funny.
Oh.
It's not funny. It's Damien.
Pleasure to meet you.
It's Damien.
It was I had itching at the base of my penis. it was like a I'll never forget it. It was itching, but it felt so good.
To scratch you?
It felt so good. It was like the best itch ever.
Wow.
And it was almost like an orgasm when I was itching,
Wow.
scratching
Wow,
it.
I've
It felt-
never heard it described like
Wow,
that.
neither
It
have I.
felt so good. It was
I
it
never
was
even knew the male symptoms of it.
neither did
Because,
I.
like, for one, a lot of males don't even feel
Have
something.
symptoms, right? That's why I was so curious as to what those were.
Yeah, so I had a itching sensation and I was scratching it, and when I scratched it the second time, I was like, hold on, I'm not supposed to itch down here. This isn't normal.
Yeah.
So also there was a cloudy grayish
Discharge.
coming from my penis, and after I seen the discharge, I was like, okay, something isn't right,
Yeah.
and that's when I got tested. So those are the only two symptoms I have.
Okay.
But I've also read that you can have no symptoms
Right.
and still have chlamydia. So those were the symptoms I experienced: just a itching sensation and the cloudy discharge.
Oh, got you. Okay.
And so when I got tested, I came back in. The doctor told me, this is the best worst case scenario you can have as far as STDs.
Wow.
And it was the remedy was one pill. Don't have sex for 2 weeks, and it should clear up by itself. So after I had that experience, I started taking my sexual health a little more serious. Oftentimes I would talk to my partners if we decide to have unprotected sex. I would talk to them and let them know, hey, are you cool with getting tested before we have sex? And
That's dope.
and if they're not, then that's a red flag for me. And so that's when I started taking my sexual health a lot more serious.
I love that you even made a step to talk to your partners about it, and you just didn't make sure that you had a solution for yourself. It's like, nah, I'm active with someone else, right? It takes two to do
Right.
the act of sex, so I need to invite you into this conversation, and I love that you did that. Especially again, it's stigmatized. It's a lot of stigma surrounding it, but Black men just usually aren't the one doing things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So to hear a Black man out there advocating for his own sexual health,
A
I just
true
wanna
unicorn.
yeah,
Thank you.
kudos to you for that. Jean, how do you feel when it comes to the conversation surrounding HIV testing with men? As a woman, what is your perspective, and how does that conversation normally happen? Is it
Honestly,
taboo?
it's all so new for me, right?
Okay.
Like, honestly, just as of recent, because I am like a serial relationship girl. So I'm usually in long-term relationships. I really am not changing partners like that. But I'm newly single for the longest I've ever been single. So,
Back outside.
for the first time.
Protected, though.
Protected though, okay? But it's more of a conversation now that I'm single and dating multiple people. So now I don't know. It's a part. I feel more mature even having these conversations, and just like I'm an adult.
up.
I'm an adult. Like this is grown people stuff. Like this is the stuff that grown-ups should be doing. And when I talk to people that are grown or just, obviously we're all grown, and they're having these conversations, they have something to say, they've been tested, they know things, they're knowledgeable, they can teach me things. It's like, okay, yeah, because these are things that we're just not talking about. It's just we never talk about it, and we have sex all the time, you know what I'm saying? It's just not a conversation. So again, it's new for me, but I love it. And again, if someone has not been tested, I'm trying not to judge because I'm new to it too. So I feel like I will be getting tested more often, even with the same partner, because I don't know what they're doing. I'm still single. They're single. They're just, to do what they want to do with their body parts. But I want to stay protected. I'm using protection. I'm talking about getting tested. All the things. Like, I love it. It's very refreshing, honestly.
I love that.
That's
for
why
you.
when I was outside getting tested, I'm like, what I need to know?
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
And I can tell you was really soaking up that information.
I really
'cause you came
was.
back and regurgitated like, okay, girl, was you in the 501c3 class with me?
I
Cause
can't. No,
yes, I love
seriously.
it.
Like, I
Sarah,
need to know.
you said that you get tested with every partner. So like, tell me, how do you have some of that conversation surround testing with your sexual partners?
Kind of just, it's not often that men just bring up the conversation. So it's kind of like, okay, what you been doing? You want to go get tested? Can we go get tested? Or have you been tested? Let me see your results. When the last time you got tested, just so I can have a little bit more clarity onto what we're gonna do. Like, because there's people who don't like to use condoms. Like, they like, oh no, I don't like condoms, but are you clean? Like, are we gonna be okay if we don't use condoms? So
Or are you on PrEP?
exactly. We just learned about PrEP too, so it's kind of like, hey, you can do. I'm scared of PrEP only because, but I'm not like I don't want to say I'm scared of it.
Why would you be scared of it?
It's not that it's medications. Like, I don't
You
really
don't like medication?
yeah, I hate medication.
Okay, that's
So
fair.
I'm not gonna say I'm scared because I'm not scared, but I don't like medication. But if I needed to be on it, I would be on it for sure.
Are you thinking about PEP or PrEP? Because I think you're thinking about
PrEP.
Okay.
PrEP is when you have a partner who.
no. PrEP is it's the alternative.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's the alternative for using protection, right?
Girl, she was in the 501c3 class.
I learned that from I learned that from when you were on our podcast. So
So it's when you don't want to catch it. So you
Right.
Oh,
right.
okay.
It's a precaution, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
So you.
measure.
So you.
That's why I was like, why would you be scared of that? But it's still
It's
medication.
still
But
medication. I'm just scared of medication. But yeah. I mean, I would consider it, but I don't know because it's just a lot. Because you got to be consistent. Like, you can't miss this, that, and the third. So.
It's like a birth control for HIV
And
and AIDS,
I'm
right?
not on, I'm not on birth control for that reason because I will forget.
So condoms is just the route that you choose to
Yeah,
go.
that are we gonna go get tested together? Like, what's up?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Damien, obviously, you have had to have conversation with your sexual partners after contracting an STD, but how did the trajectory of every other sex partner after that? What was the conversation like? And then how easy was it to bring up HIV testing? Like, give us some, if we were the girl you were talking to, how would you bring up HIV testing and just conversations surrounding sexual health?
For me, it's very easy. I'm big on communication overall as a person, and communication is the key in every relationship, friendship that you have. So it's really easy for me to communicate with my partner about it, and I'm also knowledgeable to understand that a lot of men don't talk about it, and a lot of men do not introduce that conversation. So I understand it's refreshing to have that conversation with your partner. So. It's very easy to talk about it. So if I were dealing with a new partner and I wanted to talk about getting tested, it'd be as simple as, hey, I know we're progressing in our relationship, and I would want to take it there when you're ready. But before we do that, let's talk about getting tested. And 9 times out of 10, they say yeah. And girls, let them tell it. They don't never do nothing anyway. All this sex that's going on, none of the girls are doing it. So, but they're always okay with it. And that's the kind of conversation that's mature and very important if you're continuing a relationship with somebody.
And I think that builds the trust between, your partner and you. Like, okay, he's willing to go get tested. I didn't have to bring it up. Mm-hmm. That opens up, or breaks down a guard that she might have.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Because a lot of people will say, men especially, like, I'm going to wait on my girl to get tested, or when she get tested, I don't have anything. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode today with some male energy and female energy is because I
Big
kind
male
of
energy.
big male. That's why we only needed one. We didn't need two, right? We only needed one. But I wanted to work out in real time with both here. Like, what are some negative experiences that you guys have had when it comes to talk about HIV or your sexual health? Like, for instance, like we were just saying, some men will just rely on their girls to get tested. So has there ever been a time where like you brought up something about testing and they were like, oh nah, why I need to do that, or I'm straight? Or was there ever any of that for any of you?
Yes.
I've experienced that for sure.
Yes.
Want to talk about it?
It pretty much was just like, I said okay, I was in a relationship. I found out he cheated.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, we need to go get tested because I just was scared. Like, I don't know. And it's not that I hadn't ever been cheated on before, but it's just how I found out about it. It's just like, what? So I'm like, no, we need to go get tested. So immediately I went to the clinic and he came with me. I got tested. He didn't.
Did you say any like?
Yes. I'm like, so you're just not going to get tested? And he's like, you're getting tested.
Moral support.
Not more.
Like, I did not. And I was livid. Like, I'm like, just because I'm getting tested, like, you still need to get tested. Like, you're the one who did it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting tested to protect me, like, just to whatever. But you're the one who actually did it. So, yeah, guys really do rely on. And he was there. I just didn't understand what that was about. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah, but it definitely happened. Like, and I don't understand. But that was the only time that it was just like, I'm not gonna get tested.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. As of recent, as I've brought it up, man, I'm just dealing with a better caliber of men or something. I don't
For
know.
sure.
Grown men.
For sure.
But it's easy. It's an easy conversation.
And that's crazy because literally the resource was right there in front of you. Because sometimes I feel like maybe they don't do it because they don't know the resources that they have.
I don't know if he was just fearful.
Very much. You could tell at that time it had to be fear because
Yeah.
why would you just rely on me? Like,
Yeah.
it's not your body.
Right. But I felt like if anything did come up, he would have played the blame game. Like, oh, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know what that was about. It was very frustrating in the moment. But again, as of recent, like, I've run into men who's had their results readily available.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Wow.
come here. Like, I want you, because that's attractive. That's very, very grown and mature and all the things. Like, yeah. So
To briefly touch on what you said, with that situation that you went through, number one, it probably wasn't his fault that he cheated. That's first and foremost. He didn't mean to. But also, the
Damien, play with somebody else.
I'm here for it.
Damien, play with somebody
You
else.
lost me.
the conversation.
We was rooting for you.
Like, we've been bigging you up all day. Don't.
All right, my bad. The conversation around conversation around sexual health in general, I feel is pretty new. Just like mental health, it's a new thing that's being introduced to the world in this generation.
It's definitely more on the forefront now. Yes,
Sure.
it's been a topic, but again, I feel like we're the new adults.
Mm-hmm.
We're in our 30s now, and it's just like when we're young, wild, and free, and we don't really care about things. Then I feel like but now we're to a point where it's like, thank God, like, we didn't catch things back then while we were living young, wild, and free. But now we're just. Honestly, we are equipped with more information because it's more in the forefront, and it's not as taboo anymore. I feel like
for some.
Yeah, because even the clip we just posted of the episode, and it was just like, how would you react? And a lot of people are like saying, no, I would have just, left it right there. But then he was like, she's being reckless. Like, you don't know the situation of how, anybody contracted anything.
Yeah.
So saying someone is reckless, it's kind of like, you don't know. Like,
what was the clip in reference?
How would you react to someone saying they, was tested positive for an STI, STD, and it was like, I would have left her right there. And I said, well, I questioned why, and it was like, oh, because she was being reckless. And it's like, but what if, if she got tested with her partner cheated and the symptoms went unnoticed? And,
Right.
it's just a whole lot of,
Right.
because a lot of the symptoms do go unnoticed for a lot of women and men. So,
Reckless is ignorant because
right. So it's a lot of ignorant, like people don't know about, the things that go unnoticed are, like the resources that are available to them.
Or
So
that most of the world has had or has an STD, STI. You know what I mean? It's more common than I think people know. Like it's happening.
Because it's still taboo. We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
We're not having that conversation, and especially amongst the Black community.
Speaking of, Black people account for 42 of the new HIV diagnoses in the U.S. per the CDC. Black people only make up 13% of the U.S. population, y'all. Hearing a number like 42%, I mean, we're the highest count. How does that make you feel when you hear that? And also, what are some things that you individually can do to help change this percentage?
Koiya, I have a question.
Okay.
We talked about this after your episode, and we were talking about the numbers. And not a lot of people are testing, right? So we're relying on the numbers of the people who are testing. So then I went to think, like, where are places where people have to get tested? So I thought about prison, right? Like, because they have to get tested. They have to go to medical. They have to make sure whatever. So are majority of these numbers coming from places like a prison or somewhere where you have to get tested? I wouldn't even know another place where you have to get tested, if y'all can think of one. But prison is the only thing that I just thought of, or like jail or whatever. Do we know if those, like, majority of those numbers are coming from there?
Yeah, so no, this is from the CDC, so this is all throughout the state. I mean, all throughout the United States.
Okay.
So it's not just prison, it's everywhere people are getting tested, hospitals, clinics, doctor's office,
Okay, that's another
everywhere.
place. Okay, clinics. Okay.
Yeah, anywhere in the United States that you've shown up and gotten a test, the
Right.
CDC has the data and the information.
Gotcha.
So they're pulling this information from everywhere.
Right. Okay.
And for us to be only accounting for 13% of the population, but we are the highest. And a lot of that is not just reckless behavior, let's be honest. It's medical mistrust when it comes to the Black community. It's lack of education when it comes to things like HIV. It's a scary topic. I don't know anything about it. If I'm not well versed and well educated in it, it sounds like this big thing that I don't even want to tackle, right? So there's a lot of other reasons, not just sexual risky behavior, that's attributing to these numbers. But we do know that a lot of it is from sexual behaviors and us just being out here, being outside. We see it and we know that it's happening. But for us to be Black people and to know that these percentages are this high, like, how much of a responsibility do you feel? Like, dang, I got to do something about this? Or is it just like, I'm going to do my
also have
part?
another question. Aside from the medical mistrust and all the things like that, do you feel like as Black and brown people, we're more, like, prone to these diseases? Or, like, as far as just our DNA or our genetic get up, like, do you feel like we are?
I don't think that is that we're more prone to it. I think it's because of all the things that I said. Like, the Black community does not trust the medical arena. Let's just be honest. Just over the years of the trajectory of what has played out, they don't trust. Then we aren't educated on this thing. When you see a commercial for PrEP, for instance, you don't see Black people in that commercial anywhere. You'll see a gay couple. You'll see a white lady maybe. They'll sandwich a Black woman in the middle. But it's not representation of this 42% that I'm telling you about.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that are attributing to it. It's not just one thing, but then we also can say that about diabetes. We also can say that about a lot of things.
Right.
Black people are just at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why it takes people like us who have a prominent voice within this community to go out and advocate and push and keep pushing it in people's face. I know at this point in my career, people are tired of hearing me talk about sexual health and HIV. And good. At least someone's out there talking about it. Like, that's what I want. I want you to be
100%.
tired of hearing me versus not hearing about it at all.
100%.
I think that's why we have the ignorance in our community, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So to answer your question, I definitely I think that it's very important for us to, like, advocate sexual health, like, knowledge, especially because, like, it could be It could be your sister. It could be your kid at the end of the day. And of course, we want to make sure everyone's in good health. So I think I'm gonna always use my platform to, hey, let's go get tested. Hey, they're doing free tests here. Go check them out. So I'm always gonna use my platform to make sure that I'm sharing
I'm
everything.
definitely going to make sure I just know as much information that I can share, like proper information, like not the wrong information, not saying the wrong things, stuff like that. I definitely want to know all I can know to share with whomever.
And I can definitely emphasize what you empathize what you're saying with medical mistrust because when the gentleman was outside talking to me about prep, I was cautious immediately. No reason to be, just cautious. And from everything I know about prep, it can only assist in your sexual endeavor. So, but when he was giving me the information, one of my first questions was, well, what are the side effects?
Yeah.
How can this
And
affect
that's
you?
when I said earlier, like, I'm scared. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah. For
hey,
sure.
I don't know. Like, can I trust these pills? Like,
Yeah.
it's just that medical mistrust.
And for hearing it from a platform like yours or on Tequila Babies from in a social media generation, it's easier to digest it hearing it from our people versus going to the doctor's office. Because when I go to the doctor's office, I think they're just trying to push pills down me. They're trying to make money. They don't really care about me as a person versus hearing it from my community when getting educated about your sexual health and things that can benefit you. But also, there is a lot of reckless behavior. Me being a man, back when I did have sex back in the day, it was it was a lot of reckless behavior. And I know, I still have friends and I hear stories, and we just do a lot of shit that doesn't make sense. And it's not that we don't care about our health. It's, I think, or at least for me, is sometimes when you're in the moment and you're not thinking with your logical head, you just make decisions. And I just remember times where I have unprotected sex, and then right after I'm like, damn, what's her name again? Like,
Okay.
I don't
Post
I
nut
don't know
clarity.
yeah, exactly. I don't know these people from a can of paint, but in the moment, I'm just thinking about the sex. So
No.
we got to do better.
It's true. Doing this work over the past few years, one thing that I can identify and see is that women are looking to create a safe space for men to talk to them about sexual health, HIV testing, and things like that. And then men don't even know where to start when it comes to the conversation of any of that. So, my question is how do we create a safe space for men to feel more comfortable to talk to us about things like HIV testing and sexual health? And then, Damien, my question for you is how do we make the conversation surrounding HIV testing and sexual health more fluid?
Let the Tequila Baby start.
Yeah. So how can we create a safe space? We kind of talked about this too on the Tequila Babies podcast.
Yeah.
And it stemmed from men, a community of men possibly being interested in other sexual activities. And how do we create a safe space for them to come to us and let us know like that's what they're into? Or even when it just comes to sexual health and HIV testing.
Yeah. Again, I say, for me personally, I just want to obtain all the knowledge and information so that I could share it and just become more educated about it so that I can share that information with them so they feel more they know that they feel like they have the information needed to have those conversations. And yeah, I think the more information we know, the more it'll be easier to talk about. You can't really talk about things that you don't really know about.
Right.
So it's like, what are we talking about really? Like we don't really know. So I think we just all need to become more educated and share information properly.
Definitely be more open with them first. Let them know, hey, these are my results. I just got tested this day. If you want, we can go get tested together. Let's talk about if we are going to take it there. What are the things you are into? Like, how, what does that look like? So that, if it aligns with me, then we can do what we do. But, if it doesn't, hey, I still know about this. I can help you get that. It's just like she said, the more knowledge we know, the more that we can share with them, like about prep and PEP and all that extra, all that other stuff that where the clinics are, what websites they can go to,
resources,
where they can get a testing kit, things like that. If they're scared to just go to a site, I don't want them to have my information. Okay, well, you can order an at-home test kit, like stuff like that. I want to be able to share that with them, like
Right.
I you gifted us with the test kits, so I do have that at home. Maybe I might gift that to somebody. Hey, you might need this more than I do because I just got my test. So here, this is what I have for you.
I think I'll do that too. I think I'll gift mine to a male because they just don't want to do it. I don't understand.
I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea. Damien, let's talk about how we can just make the conversation more fluid surrounding HIV, sexual health, and testing with men specifically.
For sure. First of all, y'all look amazing today.
Thank you.
That's how we should have started off the show.
Okay, thank you.
That's such a convoluted question. It goes way deeper than we know the resources. We know where to go. We know how to use our phone. We know everything we need to know about our sexual health. But
you do, not everybody.
Trust
Not
me,
everybody.
we can find out.
Just the other day, someone said, "Where do you know where to go so I can get tested?" What do you mean? In my head is like, what do you mean?
Yeah, that's just a man being a man. We want y'all to answer all the questions
Like,
for us. But we can find out. That's the easy part. The hard part is we're not even comfortable communicating with you guys sometimes. We're not even comfortable communicating, period, sometimes. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe June is men's mental health awareness month.
Men's Health Month.
Oh, it's Men's Health. Okay. But we're not even comfortable opening up and being our true self. You know how many men are still in the closet or can't be their true self because we're afraid of being judged. And this is and I don't mean to go too deep, but this is something that goes way back. This isn't as easy as, hey, I'm going to get tested tomorrow. You want to come with me? And sure, yeah, why not? I'm comfortable enough doing it.
That is like so easy.
It's easy to you because you probably know that, number one, you probably know your status because, like you mentioned, you get tested once a year, and you're probably open to having a conversation because men and women think completely different.
Right.
But we still fight that thing, that mind battle that if we open up too much to you, you're gonna look as soft. That's just not in our DNA to open up. This is something you acquire along the way with maturity and wisdom and learn how to communicate. So to me, it goes a lot deeper than just knowing where and how to get tested and the proper ways of going about it. It goes about being comfortable enough to open up with your partner about your sexual health. Because what if you meet a guy that does have STD or some kind of disease that he's not comfortable, he's never told anybody? You expect him to say, give me the choice, let me know ahead of time so I can make the choice what I want to do. But we're still battling with ourselves. We're not comfortable telling anybody, let alone the woman that you want to be with or want to pursue something with. So when I think about that, there is no.
But it sounds like a revolving door at that point, because at what point do you get to the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to keep going through that? Like,
that's what we're here for. We want to create that safe space and that platform for us men to open up and tell you to be most vulnerable with you. That's what I think. That's what we're asking for, vulnerability with men. But you know how complicated it is to ask a man to be vulnerable?
for sure.
That's like asking a man to take off all your armor and let me see the real you. We never do that. We never do that. And I'm like that too. I can peel down layers, but there's some things that still I still struggle with. As far as being my authentic self. There's some layers that's still sensitive to me, and I still struggle with it as a person. So although I've progressed throughout the years, I understand as a man how difficult it is to be vulnerable about something that's so sensitive, so near and dear to your heart, especially when it comes to you don't want to be looked at anything less than a man, anything that tears you down. You don't want to. You're not. As a man, I never want to openly share with the world anything that's gonna tear me down or make you look at me in a different light, any worse than I already am as a black man. So,
Well, from a woman to a man, I'm gonna just tell you like that'll be an easy weed process, because if I really like you, you can tell me anything. Like, I'm not gonna judge you, but there are gonna be guys that I really don't really like that, but I'm entertaining them and they may tell me something vulnerable. I'm like, so that'll be an easy weed process. Like, okay, she's really into me. Like, I can trust her with this information. Like, I think for me, I put myself out there. What you see is what you get.
sure.
For sure. Like, what you see is what you get. I don't sugarcoat nothing. The attitude is coming 1st quarter. The slick mouth, like all my negatives, you're gonna see up front. You deal with it or you don't, and that's my weed process. Like, you're gonna get the good too, but you're gonna get the real me. Like, if I'm having a bad day, I'm having a bad day. If I want to share what drama I was into with my best friend, I want to share that. Like, whatever it is, I'm just want to like, openness and honesty is literally the key to life. Like, when you talk about communication is key, but open communication, honest communication, not just conversations.
But you hear the disconnect. For you, you say it's easy, and as a man, I say it's not easy.
Right,
so
right.
we would have to meet in the middle, but not necessarily disagree. But we have to find a common ground, and that's a lot, because as a man, you carry so much. We carry so much more
on their plate
than women, and I don't think that's an excuse. But at least me in everyday life, I have to be a certain. People look for so much out of me on an everyday basis.
For sure.
And it's hard to break down and be that soft guy because I'm a soft ass. I'm
all
sensitive.
of you men are. That's the crazy
I'm very,
part.
I'm very soft.
I think all men are sensitive, but they have some do it better. Like, they at hiding it.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, like, y'all just
Yeah.
hide it.
But on an everyday basis, I can't be soft.
So how can what can women do to allow a man to be, like, open with us, like, about?
You just said it. Allow us to be open. It's a process. You have to allow us to.
Okay, but that process got to align with how fast you're trying to have sex with me too. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
We'll keep the cookie then.
okay, I'm
That part, Damien.
No,
keep
but-
it.
And sometimes women use their cookie to, and it's so different because men look at sex different than we do, right? It's emotional for us. So if I gave you my cookie, that means I'm entrusting you. So you need to entrust me with being open. But it's not the same. It's a disconnect.
we don't think like that.
I know.
So-
That was my point.
Yeah, so
But
I don't have the. I guess the answer to Koiya's question is I don't have the answer. I don't know what the answer is. I know it's a battle. It's a everyday process. Sometimes it's easy to be vulnerable and soft and open up. Sometimes it's extremely hard. The only people I can be vulnerable and soft with are my kids. Those are the ones that really get the real me on the everyday. I don't have to be anybody other than who I am with them. Outside of that, I have to be some sort of a different version of Damien to everybody else. And I mean everybody, including women, my family, co-workers, friends, everybody. I have to be some different version of Damien. The kids, the only one to get the real me.
Wow, I hate that for you.
Yeah,
But I
it's
do
tough.
understand that the load that the black man carries in this world. So I get that. While I don't have the solution either, I do want to provide some advice. I think just like anything, do it. Start doing it, and it makes it more normalized. So just start having conversations surrounding HIV testing. Just start bringing up conversations surrounding sexual health. And just like the conversation you have with anybody, it gets normalized and it becomes easy and it's no longer taboo. And then as far as women, I think we can create a safe space by judging less.
What'd you say? I ain't hear you.
Stop it. Handling things with more care for sure, because as women, we are a lot more on top of things naturally because it's in our nature. We're nurturing all the things, moms, all that. So men just don't naturally think the way that we do. So when they come to us with things that seems like, how you don't know that at your big age, we kind of have to like retrain our mind to handle it with care instead of immediately going to a place of, what?
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
You know?
And I'm sorry, I don't
No,
mean to cut
go
you off.
ahead.
And just speaking for me, it only takes one time to lose that trust, to lose that opportunity for me to be vulnerable. It takes one time. Like one sentence, one phrase can change your whole mindset of how you view a person. And especially when we try to be vulnerable and then you do something to shut that down, it's gone damn near forever. And it'll never be the same on what level I can be vulnerable with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to leave it. Today's episode was very impactful. We had some deep conversation and didn't even mean to get that deep or go there, but this was a great episode, y'all.
it
Thank
really
you so
was.
much, Tequila Babies.
Yes, thank you,
Damien,
Koiya.
Yes,
for
thank you,
joining us. Also, thank you for willing to get tested on camera.
Yeah.
Your willingness to do that was very
It
nice.
was nerve-wracking. I was like, ooh, what if I walk out?
But it wasn't bad.
It wasn't.
It wasn't bad. It
Wasn't bad
wasn't
at all.
bad. And hopefully more people will go out and get tested.
For
For
sure.
sure.
Talked about it. It's
Get
very
tested, y'all.
easy. It's simple.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you guys for
And-
joining me.
And Koiya, before we go, where can we find more information about sexual?
Yes. So if you are interested in getting tested, www.talktestcfl.com. Thank y'all.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.